Hello, my name is Natalie Jones. I'm the UCAS coordinator here at Cardiff High School, and this presentation is aimed at parents and carers who are supporting the students through the UCAS process. The website that everybody will be going through is the UCAS website. So that is the website whereby all students across the UK will be applying to their chosen universities, and they are invited to make initially up to a choice of 5. Now those 5, it is important that they are sort of covered a range, so each university will have its own entry requirements, which is very often either grade based or points based. But to give you an example, say that the student is currently on for 3Bs when they're looking at their predicted grades. Now, it's perfectly fine to have an aspirational university in there that they've maybe sort of ABB at a push AAB, but it's also advisable to have at least 2 safe options, so courses which are asking for 3Bs, but also it's never a bad idea to have a secure choice, so a backup one that's maybe BCC, just in case things don't go right on the exams day. Now these 5 chosen universities, they do not have to go in order, so they don't have to select them from 1 to 5. It's simply 5 universities that they wish to pick. Obviously, it's important that the student wishes to go there, but what will happen then is when they receive all of their offers, only then will they pick 2 options, which I will go on to a little bit later. Now, just to bring up the awareness of a contextualised offer, there are some universities, and sometimes it's very much course based, which will offer contextualisation in the sense that universities are aware that not everybody has the same sort of advantages. So to sort of level the playing field, they will look at things like demographic background, where they've been in their education, and also socioeconomic background. But as well as things like, has the student ever been in care? Are they first generation going to university? And importantly, is there any other circumstance that may have affected why, when it came to sort of maybe GCSEs, for example, they underperformed? So what I sort of make a plea to you now is that if you think there is something within the student's background that might influence the sort of the academic performance, then please can the student make their referee aware, or could you please email me to make me aware of those circumstances so that we can let the universities know. Now, I will put up my contact details at the end of this presentation so that you have. So students were introduced back in June to the actual UCAS process. They have had a variety of information, and that includes a digital copy of the UCAS sort of general personal statement introduction booklet. They've had a video and PowerPoint as to how to actually fill in and complete the UCAS form. So the majority of that should now be completed. Obviously, if they haven't, then we would request that they do this as a matter of urgency. Over the summer holidays, they were sort of guided towards the idea that they need to sort of start looking at their personal statements, having a look at virtual open days. They are, as COVID restrictions raise, they are able to sort of, universities are offering sort of physical open days. So that's something to keep an eye out to. They are required maybe to do some extra research into the topics that they and subjects that they wish to study, and obviously search through some sort of careers advice and career finders as to the sorts of jobs that they may be looking forward to go into with their degree, just to make sure that it is the right one for them. So as things stand, since they've arrived back in school, they have all been assigned a UCAS mentor or a UCAS referee, and these are staff members who've been trained in the UCAS process. So their job is to meet with the student on a one-to-one basis to help them with their personal statement and craft it so that the students are selling themselves to the best possible advantage. They will also be there to talk to them about their course choices. So that's going back to them the idea of, well, where are you applying? Do you like the course that's there? Have you actually had a look at the modules that they're studying? And also to discuss with them their predicted grades. Because like I said, it is important that when they are applying for university that we are realistic in their choices to make sure that come August on results day that they actually secure a place at their chosen university. Now, I suppose this is the bit where a lot of parents will ask me, well, how can I help? And it's things like helping them with that personal statement, proofreading it, checking for basic errors, and just sort of grammatical errors that may be there, helping them to maybe structure it and to think about the skills and qualities that the university and the colleges value the most. So any of those interpersonal skills, you probably know them better than anybody. So, make sure they're highlighting those within their personal statements, making sure that the personal statement explains why they want to study the course and what they may be hoping to do in the future. And then we have this extracurricular versus the supercurricular. So extracurricular is sort of generic activities that they may do as part of the school day or any extra jobs that they do. But supercurricular is sort of that idea of going above and beyond. So have they read any textbooks into the course they want to do? Have they done any organised any work experience or spoken to somebody in their industry? That can also go into the statement. Like I said, open days, they are going to be different, but in this time, whereas previously I'd be asking you, if it's possible to drive them up to the open days, nowadays it's going to be certainly this year it looks like it's going to be virtual. But if you can help the students and making sure that they're sort of researching as to when these are taking place and obviously getting them signed up to them, then that would certainly benefit them, and helping them to select the right course that is suitable for them. And I've got up there Unifrog, which Unifog is a software package that we, as a school, have bought into. We've been using it for a number of years and found it has quite a lot of information that is accessible for the students. So I'm just going to take this time over the next couple of slides just to introduce you to some of the facilities that the students have access to. In terms of what Unifog has to offer, they offer a wide variety of things. So, for example, they pull all the sort of prospectuses from all the universities onto the one site, so it's all in one location. You can see there that they've got the UK universities that you can all have a look into. You may very well have the students wanting to go off to US universities or European universities. There's even information on that. And there's also information on apprenticeship. So if the student is debating whether or not they want to go to university or whether they're thinking of applying for an apprenticeship, then the website actually has that information there for you. In addition to that, it may be that the student doesn't really know what they want to do. So what their option there is they could, for example, look at the careers library. So they could look at maybe a career that they've thought of before, and on there it will tell them exactly what what sort of subjects are required, maybe what university courses are needed. They've also got on there a subjects library where you can sort of just type in the subject that you're interested in and it will bring up a load of various career prospects that you could do within that subject area. There's the MOOCs that are on there, which are the online university courses, which I know a number of students have been sort of completing during the lockdown and into the summer holiday period. So that would be something that would count as a supercurricular activities. And then if students are just not sure how to describe themselves, a good starting place is to sort of look at the competencies. And there's a couple of activities that will draw those up for them. Now this is the other section where we have the personal statements, and again there's advice on there for the students as to how to complete their personal statements. And what we're asking is if students can complete them on there, then it just makes it easier with their referee to sort of edit and make notes and changes for them. In the subject teachers, this is where students have selected the subject that they are currently taking, and on there they will be able to see their predicted grades. And if they are thinking of applying for a job at all, then there is a CV template on there that the students are welcome to use. So as they're building up their personal statement, there's a couple of tools within this package that it's certainly worthwhile students having a look at. So as you know, the UCAS process has now started, and there are a couple of key deadline dates that it is imperative that they're adhered to. For example, the 7th of September means that we can actually now formally submit the UCAS applications, but there are certain ones that have got to be in by key dates. The first one being the 1st of October, which is for those applying for conservatoires. And I know we do have quite a few students applying this year, so they need to make sure that theirs is submitted by the 1st of October. The next deadline are for the Oxbridge, the medics, the vets, the dentistries. They have the 15th of October deadline, or also commonly known as the early entry deadline. Again, they need to be completed by that date. Everybody else, I have set an internal deadline of the 15th of November to try and get that towards, partly because it does take sort of a 2-week turnaround of sort of the students thinking that they've submitted it and us double checking it and making sure everything's going off. But also we do want that done and sort of sealed off before they start their mock examination so they can concentrate on that. The formal deadline set by UCAS is the 26th of January, but again, we really do want everything submitted this side of Christmas to make sure that everything is sorted and sort of signed, sealed, delivered. It is then a case of the waiting game. As students often ask how long it takes to hear back. I have known students hear back within 12 hours of an offer of a place. I have known students wait for 4 months. So I'm afraid it is an uncomfortable, sometimes waiting game, but you will hear back as soon as possible from the universities. This slide details all the university entrance exams that are particularly important for those students who are applying for the sort of generally the 15th deadline, so your Oxford, Cambridge medical students, but also your LNAT students as well. So there are a couple of key deadlines that they must make sure they adhere to. So for example, the UCAT, they need to make sure they get registered by the 22nd of September, and that needs to be set by the 29th of September. The BMAT is available for registration now, and the deadline is the 1st of October, and the date for that this year is the 3rd of November. Oxbridge exams, again, they need to be registered by 6 o'clock on the 15th of October. So to do that, they need to go and see Mrs. Walsh, who will take their details and get them registered. And the dates this year are spread across 2 dates, so it will either be the 3rd or 4th of November where they will sit their exams, and that will be on school premises. The LNAT exams will be sat at an external location, so very often they use the test centres. That can be done any time up until the 20th of January. However, please bear in mind if you are applying for law for Oxford or Cambridge, that test needs to be sat by the 15th of October. So the offers have arrived in. We hope that students make 5 offers and then they receive all 5 of them back. And that is where they need to have a sort of a think and a discussion as to which university they are going to pick as their first choice. Now, if, for example, their first choice grades requires ABB and they receive ABB in the summer exams or higher, then they've met the condition of that contract, in which case that is where they will be going. If the unfortunate happens and they say don't get ABB and the requirements for their insurance choice is BBB, then it is their insurance choice that they will be going to. There is the option on results day that if you fail to meet your entry requirements or of both your firm and insurance, or you've simply decided to change your mind, then there is the option for clearing, but you are limited then as to which universities have spaces on the courses that they're offering. So it is important. It's usually around about sort of March time when the offers, all 5 offers are in, that students then need to think about, well, where are they in terms of their academic performance to date? How have they performed in their mock? And which one would be a sensible university to pick for the first choice, and which one would be a sensible one then to pick for their insurance? Now, Student Finance Wales, this is not something, unfortunately, that I'm able to help too much with because it is dealt directly with them. We will make you aware when the need to apply for funding arises, which is usually late February or early March. But what I can advise you to do is if you sign up on the Student Finance Wales website, there's actually a dedicated page specifically for parents and carers, and they will keep you updated with information as to the student packages, and it may be a case of just getting some information and preparation ready for them. But all the information is on there, and that's the best place for me to direct you with regarding student. The UCAS process, it does seem a little bit daunting sometimes, particularly maybe if you haven't been to university or it's the first time you have son or daughter going through the process. However, we are here to help you, so I've left the contact details up there. Please email if you have any questions or queries, and I will do my best to answer them. If I can't find if I don't have the information myself, I will certainly point you in the right direction. And I just want to say thank you very much for your time.